This is Fido Friendly Travel Talk. Here's your host, Susan Sims.
Hey everybody, it's Susan Sims with Fido Friendly Travel Talk, brought to you by Animal Radio, where we talk about the travel and lifestyle for you and your furry best friend. My guest today is Aurora Velasquez with Best Friends Animal Society. She's here to talk about summer safety for your pets. Hi Aurora, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I wanted you to share with our listeners, just we're in full swing summer here in Idaho, and I know the way I am with my dog. I go outside and I test the pavement with my hand. I put it down on the asphalt, and if it's too hot for her, I'm not going to put her down. I'll just put her in her stroller. So what are some other tips that you can share with our listeners, summer safety tips in general?
Yeah, that's a really smart tip that you just shared, and I love that you do that. But, avoiding the hottest part of the day, the hot afternoon heat and, direct sun is a good rule of thumb. So if your dog needs to go out for a walk, sticking to early morning and evening hours when the sun has waned a little bit, it's a little bit cooler. Sticking to grassy areas, if that's an option, as an option to avoid the pavement is also good. But really, it's just avoiding that the height of the heat during the midday period is the best thing to do.
Yeah, and I know too. I get so angry when I see it every year. Unfortunately, people leave their dogs or cats in a car, and they think because they have the window cracked or the window partially down that's okay, and not realizing what I learned was the heat can be 20 degrees higher in the car.
It can, and the heat can climb much quicker inside a vehicle than someone would think. It really can take a matter of minutes. So we always recommend just, the safest pet place for a pet in that kind of heat is at home. I know we love to take our pets with us. We like to have them involved in every aspect of our lives. But a hot car really is much more dangerous, much more quickly than people realize. So avoiding to begin with is a great rule of thumb.
Exactly. And I know people aren't intentional when they do that. They think I'm going to run in here and be quick. And, if you go to Costco, it's never quick. So that's that. Specifically, I want to kind of talk about 4th of July because we're heading into that next week as you and I are talking today. And I have a wonderful neighbor, and she chooses to have a big firework display, and it's very loud. And so last year, it was the first year she did that, and we checked into a hotel. So this year, I know it's coming again. So Honey, my little dog Honey, and we're going to go to a friend's about an hour away where they're in a 55 plus community, so they don't shoot off fireworks. Yay! And so beyond relocating, which isn't always, the best for everyone, why don't we talk about some 4th of July safety tips?
Absolutely. Folks should keep in mind that the best place for their pets on the 4th of July is going to be inside the house. It's 4th of July. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot going on, but pets don't understand what the festivities are about. All they know is big, bright lights, scary sounds, and it often causes a little bit of panic in them. So we always recommend bringing pets inside, drawing the shades, putting on some music or a movie to drown out what's going on outside, and just giving them a nice calm space to weather, what is kind of a scary storm for them. And what most people may not realize is that shelters across the country, the 4th of July and the days right after are some of the highest days of intake for pets, because pets get scared during the fireworks and run off trying to find some safety. So avoiding your pet running away, keep them inside, make sure that they have up-to-date ID, a good sturdy collar with a tag that has a phone number on it, just in case.
Yeah, and I know too, with the microchips, some people, like we adopted our dog 9 years ago, and she was basically a puppy. So, she's outfitted with everything, and none of the information on that chip has changed. But that's another thing I was thinking, that people make sure that those chips are up to date. I'm guilty. My dog doesn't normally have a collar running around, but and I also don't take her out without her leash. And I'm relying on, this chip where a lot of people probably do the same thing. So one thing I've done, and it hasn't been successful, is I've administered CBD. And I know that there's a lot of good CBD on the market, but it would take a lot of CBD for my little puppy because it's just one sound and she's shaking for the whole night.
Yeah, lots of people use CBD. Vets can also prescribe something a little heavier duty for pets who really get on edge. There's also products like Thunder shirts, which sort of mimic a nice tight hug. I have one of those for my dog personally. So, really talking with your veterinarian, getting to know what it is that's going to work for your pet. Maybe putting on a movie is not really going to make a difference for, your cat or dog. And just coming up with a plan that's really going to be impactful and soothing for them, I think is a great tailored approach.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, every pet is different. And I've gone through enough of these fireworks, and we're in the country, there's guns and all kinds of noises. And we had a black lab that was the coolest dog. It's like you could have a gun, you could have any noise, wouldn't bother him. He just kind of look around like, okay. But this little girl, she's affected a lot, and it breaks my heart because I want to be in the festivities because it's fun, but it's more important to me to take care of her and
Be with her.
yeah. So I would like to talk about Best Friends Animal Society. I'm not sure all the listeners are aware of the wonderful things you do, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, Best Friends Animal Society, we are a national organization working to help shelters across the country become no-kill. It's our goal to get the entire country to no-kill by the end of this year. So we're really, really working hard. We're making incredible progress. There's a lot of folks across the country who work in shelters, volunteer, contribute their time to make sure that pets are able to be adopted into homes and don't, end up losing their lives at shelters. So we're making a lot of really good progress. We have on our website the Pet Life Saving Dashboard, which is a really cool feature where folks, can visit bestfriends.org and see what's happening in their communities. We always encourage people to get involved because animal sheltering is a community-wide issue, and the solutions generally are community-based as well. So if you're, folks are curious as to what's happening at their local shelter or, in their county, their community, there's a really easy way to find that information out and figure out how you can help.
Yeah, and I also want to encourage people because I think, in a way, people, if they want to donate, sometimes they might think, oh, it's a no-kill shelter, so I'll go ahead and donate to a kill shelter, where in reality, the funds are needed for the no-kill to keep it as a no-kill facility.
Yeah, we recommend folks contribute really to any organization that's doing good work. It definitely takes a lot of resources to make and maintain a no-kill shelter. There's a lot of programs that are involved. There's a lot of support for the animals in the shelter, as well as community members and animals, who are already in homes, and we want to keep them in their homes. But the shelters that aren't quite yet no-kill and are really working hard to get there, they absolutely need support too. So I think folks just finding a shelter that, speaks to what their personal priorities and interests are, and, whether that's in their community or we have shelters that focus on specific kinds of animals, your cat shelter, your dog shelter, your senior animals. There's a good fit for everyone. It's just figuring out who that fit is and getting in there and helping.
Well, good. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. I think there's a lot of good information here. And so once again, what's the great website for people to take a look at to learn more?
Our website is bestfriends.org. And it's that pet life-saving dashboard that I always recommend folks check out. It's a lot of really great information.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, well, thanks again. I really appreciate your time, and you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That's it for Fido Friendly Travel Talk. You have been listening to my guest from Best Friends Animal Society, Aurora Velasquez. For more information about today's show or just about traveling with Fido, log on to fidofriendly.com. Until next time, travel safe and leave no dog behind. This is Susan Sims with Fido Friendly Travel Talk.